Hello and welcome back to the Embrace the Mud podcast. It has been, I think, like a week and a half since the last time I recorded an episode, and I'm so happy and grateful to be back here connecting with you guys again. We're going to do a quick rundown of the last 8 or 9 days of the Love Boost Challenge and talk about today's challenge. And I want to tell you a little bit about my travels with my husband and some of the things that came up for me during that time. So let's dive in. You are listening to the Embrace the Mud podcast, where we discuss all things related to healthy, joyful, and life-giving relationships. Why focus on relationships? Because the quality of our intimate partnerships and close connections influences our health, happiness, and longevity more than anything else in our lives. Relationships matter a lot. So together, let's jump into the mud, aka our messy relationships, pull some weeds, plant some seeds, and create an enriching environment where strong relationships can take root. I am your grateful host, Dara Posner. I am a relational disaster working toward relational mastery. I am also a positive psychology coach, a relational mindset coach, a blogger, and now a podcaster. Thank you for tuning into this episode of the Embrace the Mud podcast, where we discuss all things related to healthy, joyful, life-giving relationships. If you are a fan of this podcast, please subscribe, follow, like, review, and share. Your engagement in this way is crucial to the success of the podcast, and I appreciate you taking just a few seconds to support my mission, which is to help people like you flourish in life and love. So good to be back here recording this episode and just being able to put out some content for y'all. It's really made me realize how much I just love this part of my day every day, to get to talk to you about the things that make our relationships strong and the things that get in the way of us having the intimacy that we want. And it's really a love of mine to do this. So I'm happy to be back. And it was not my intention to take a break. My husband and I got on the road. We live in Asheville, North Carolina. We drove down to visit some of his family members in Florida in the Fort Myers area. And we kind of planned to have some family time. And then he was going to actually do some work down there. And I was going to be working, still meeting with my clients and doing a lot of the things that I do. And we were going to also take some time away for just some fun for the two of us. We had a couple little mini trips planned, sort of dispersed throughout the 2-week period. And I had a vision for how I was going to move forward and, execute on my plans and my agenda for my work and my time with myself. And I had a whole big plan. And it got somewhat derailed. And here's what I didn't account for. So, my husband and I both grew up in toxic family systems. We both grew up in pretty severe dysfunction. And I'm really pretty much fully disconnected from my family. I am a shunned member of my family, and I will talk more about that experience in a future podcast episode. And then my husband, he grew up in a broken family, just lots of toxicity, a long list of different things that he's experienced. And as a result of that, we both have childhood PTSD. We both have complex trauma and, are on our own healing journeys with that. And knowing that has really helped us heal in our own relationship and help us grow and become functional as a unit together. Not that we don't struggle still, because we do, but we don't struggle nearly as much as we would if we didn't have the conscious awareness of how the things that were modeled for us and the defense mechanisms that, our young selves created to get through, our early life experiences were impacting us in our relationship. And it was so helpful. What I didn't account for in this trip is how being in an environment with, members of even, not even my own family, his family, how that was going to really just impact us emotionally and psychologically. And, it was hard. It was really a lot because, as many of you can probably relate, when we go back home, especially if home was, a pretty dysfunctional, difficult, painful place, we may still, have relationships with our parents and other family members. And when we go back and spend time with them, it's like we fall back into those early life patterns with those people. And it's difficult to avoid, especially when you're not really thinking about, that, and you're not expecting it. And you kind of go back in and just replay, all these old dances that you've done with people. And for me, being in my husband's family environment and a part of that dynamic, and how similar in many ways it was to my own, it was really triggering. It was really hard and quite painful at times. And there were multiple moments where we were like, we should pack up and go. And, it was a bit of a roller coaster, not much of a vacation. And, it required to kind of just, I guess, simplify the load that I had given myself, and to spend way more time just sort of, connecting with him and working through some of the things that were happening, and then processing and keeping ourselves whole and healthy through the entire experience. And we finished our trip off with some time away, just the two of us. On our way home, we kind of made a couple stops along the coast and planned to have a lot of fun. And really, we spent that time just working through, some things. And there were major realizations, and we came into, deeper states of awareness about some dynamics and areas that just needed attention, and relationships and boundaries that needed to be created, and more healing work that needed to be done. And the beautiful thing was we were very much a united front throughout the experience. And I think in that way, it really strengthened our marriage and our bond. And I'm very grateful for that. So all that is to say, to share something about myself with you, and, to also explain where I've been since, I think, day 8 of the Love Boost Challenge. I have managed to get some social media posts out there every day for you all. So I really do hope that you are connected with me on Instagram, or able to see the posts and continue the challenge, because my baseline commitment was to supply you with a challenge to strengthen your bonds and connection every single day throughout the month of February. And so while I wasn't able to record a podcast episode on each challenge every day, I was able to put some posts out on Facebook and Instagram. And I really hope that you have been following along the way. So where did we leave things off? Well, I think the day that we left things off was day 8. And so we're going to pick up with day 9. And I really just want to sort of run through these and just do a short, couple seconds on each one, and to bring us up to speed and get us current. So day 9, our challenge for the day was to focus on acts of kindness. And so what that meant was that if you're focusing on yourself right now, you want to perform an act of kindness for someone else in order to nourish yourself through the act of giving, and to cultivate positive energy through, this generosity and thoughtfulness for someone else. If you're in a relationship, the challenge was to surprise your partner with just a small act of kindness, to show your love and to express gratitude through a thoughtful gesture that day. The next day, day 10, was all about healthy communication. And so, practicing open communication. If you're new, you're out there dating or in a brand new relationship, you want to, from the beginning, get into a habit of expressing yourself openly and honestly, and to share your expectations. I think that's a mistake that many people make, is that up front, they really want to play things cool and not rock the boat and have things go, many people will say to me, I just want to keep it light and fun. Well, that's great, but you still have to focus on the fact that you create patterns from the very beginning. So you want one of those patterns to be open and honest dialogue, communication, and clear expectations in the relationship. And if you're, in a committed relationship, really taking initiative to express any concerns or doubts that you have been keeping inside, and to express them in a loving way to your partner, and to prioritize creating a safe space for discussion in your relationship. Day 11 was all about empathy building. Practicing empathy is such a cornerstone of really solid, strong relationships. And so, if you're out there just meeting new people, this was an opportunity for you to practice empathy when engaging in conversation and really looking to understand other people's perspectives. And if you're in a relationship, to reflect on your partner's feelings. And when they're sharing with you, to make your focus and priority understanding them before seeking to be understood yourself. Day 12 was all about disconnecting to reconnect. And we're really just talking about like social media and distractions and phones, and so if you were single, get out there and connect with people organically. There's a lot of usage of apps and things like that to connect. But on that day, it was really about how can I get out into the world and connect with people, maybe through attending a social engagement or finding an in-person event to go to. And if you're in a relationship, spending quality time together without devices, without these distractions, and to just focus on one another, make eye contact, and engage emotionally. Day 13 was to write a love letter. I love writing love letters to yourself. I think this is such a beautiful idea that was introduced to me in therapy. It wasn't necessarily like a love letter in therapy. It was just like an encouraging letter, to either my inner child or my future self, or a letter to my current self from my future self, all kinds of variations. So if your connection goal is self-connection, then writing a letter to yourself and, just acknowledging your own strengths, your own accomplishments, your own resilience. And if you're in a relationship, the challenge was to write a letter to your partner, to express your love to them and your appreciation and admiration for them. Day 14 was about celebrating love. This, of course, was Valentine's Day. And on Valentine's Day, if you're single, the challenge was to celebrate love in all its forms, your friendships and relationships with family members, and of course, our furry friends, right? Our pets. I have so much love in my life because of my pets. So that was the challenge there. And if you're in a relationship, to celebrate your partner and the relationship you have with them, to really spend the day cherishing that connection, remembering that there was a time that all you wanted was to meet someone and to fall in love and to have a relationship, and to really appreciate that you are now in one, and, to appreciate the specific relationship that you have. Day 15 was all about creating a vision. Having a vision and a purpose in relationship is so important. I think in a future challenge coming up here soon, we'll be talking specifically about purpose. Day 15 was about vision. And so as a single person, the challenge was to create a vision board, or to write a list where you articulate clearly the qualities that you desire in a committed partner and the attributes that you were looking for in your dream relationship. And if you're in a relationship, the challenge was to collaborate on a vision for your relationship that represents your shared goals and dreams, and to really go for it here, to not hold back, to create an inspiring picture of the future together that deeply inspires and excites you both. All right, day 16. This was a challenge to have an adventure. You could have chosen to embark on a solo adventure and embrace the opportunity for personal growth and the sense of independence that would come from doing that. Or you could try a new activity with your partner and to just find something new, something novel to do that would strengthen your bond through just having a shared experience together that might be outside your norm. Day 17 was Compliment Day. So this was an invitation to either really allow yourself to compliment yourself, to see the positives, the good qualities, the gifts, the talents, the skills that you have, and to acknowledge them to yourself fully. Or if you're in a relationship, the challenge was to compliment your partner, to celebrate each other's strengths, and to really just, seize the opportunity to look for what's good and to celebrate that out loud through complimenting one another. Day 18 was yesterday. That was mindful breathing. I'm actually a really, really big fan of being intentional about your breath. And of course, if it's just you doing this with yourself, practicing mindful breathing as a way of staying centered and to really, tune in, ground, and to find an inner sense of trust in the process that you're in of finding a great relationship and the love experience that you really long for. If you're in a relationship, I love the idea of synchronized breathing. I don't know if you've ever tried this with a partner. It's a really beautiful way. I like doing it while spooning to come into a shared rhythm of breath together. This really just helps release tension and allows you to reconnect in a powerful way. And finally, today's challenge, which brings us current together. Day 19, reflect on past lessons. It's such a useful and powerful exercise to, if you're single, reflect on your past relationships and try to identify some key lessons that you've learned and also areas for growth that were revealed to you through your past relationships that maybe you've already, begun to pursue, but that you want to, just reconnect with and be intentional about, or ones that you were maybe aware of or not aware of, but are ready now to actually begin pursuing in a really intentional way. And if you're in a relationship, I think it's a beautiful idea to challenge yourself to think back on all that you've overcome together, all of the triumphs that you've had in your relationship as you've worked through difficult times, whether that's, life kind of coming at you both and you navigating it as a team, or overcoming serious conflict and differences between you, and coming out strong on the other side and acknowledging your growth as a couple. So that was day 19, which is today. So if you haven't already been on my Instagram, which I did post a little late today, I invite you to, find some time between now and the end of the day to do that reflection. All right. Well, that is all I have for you today. I will be back tomorrow. I'm getting back on track, and we will be diving into the challenge for day 20 of the Love Boost Challenge. If you have been participating in the challenge this month, I would love to hear about it. So please feel free to reach out to me. You can email me, dara@mudcoaching.com. You can connect with me on Instagram. I love, just direct messaging or leave a comment. And I'd love to know how the challenge is going for you. We're already 19 days in, so hopefully you're seeing some really amazing results in your relationships or your relationship with yourself as you've done the challenge. As I said, I'll be back tomorrow. In the meantime, please remember, as always, that you are wired for love and connection. You are capable of love and connection. You are worthy of love and connection. I'll see you soon.